On behalf of the Bethel Park Chamber, I welcome you tonight, these candidates for council of Bethel Park. We really appreciate you taking the time to come tonight. As a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, we decided to host this so that our community members could at least be a little better informed. I would like to thank the municipality of Bethel Park for providing us with these facilities. I want to thank Bethel Park TV and Dave. And I'd also like to thank Save Here Today, who's a local business in Bethel Park, who provided us with the printed programs, along with Diane's help in getting them together. Tonight, your moderators will be Diane Ford, who's a local business owner. She has Virtual Information Processing Company, and Rains, a company located over at Northwest Corners. Some of you may know as Mitchell's Corners. And also J.P. Marino, he is Vice President of Washington Financial Bank. They just opened a branch in Finleyville. So they will be your moderators for tonight. The questions have been submitted by incumbents from council themselves and from the community, so that you know at least where they're coming from. We just ask that you speak a little clearly and loudly so that you can be heard. Diane?
I hear you very well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to make sure that we go over the rules very quickly. The number one rule is be kind and respectful at all times. Honor the allotted 1-minute response time. A 30-second warning will be given by our timekeeper, and then we'll give you a 10-second warning. Keep your answers direct and succinct.
Hey, do me a favor. Unplug my phone there. Thank you very much.
And speak loud and clear. If comfortable, remove your mask for answering and when answering your providing your response. Just remember that this is not a debate. It's an opportunity for the candidates to express their viewpoints and directly answers the questions as presented. At the end of the forum, we will, or tomorrow, I will send you guys all the questions that were asked. You'll have an opportunity to get them back to me by Wednesday, and on Friday we will post your responses and your answers. You want me to start? Okay. All right. So does anyone have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we're ready to get started. What can be done to reduce the amount of policing and thus the amount of the budget spent on police in Bethel Park? We're going to start with Joe.
Sure. So I'm not sure what we can do to reduce the policing. I mean, I think they have a job to do, and they do it well, and we all support them in that. And you know, to try to minimize that or take away from it, I think could be bad. So I think anytime something comes up, we need to review it and see where we can do savings in the budget, not just necessarily around the police.
John?
Hello, everyone. Really quickly, I'll take my minute as well as answering, but I want to thank everyone, Bethel Park TV, the Chamber, and everyone, and also the residents for paying attention to these local elections. I would like to first say, for the police to lower the budget, the number one thing, if there is room to do that, I would say we'd allow better gear, better training, better equipment, so that they could quickly respond and actually be more efficient in what they do every day. I believe that's the number one way to come around that and to save money in the budget and for the police department. Thank you.
The next question is, the police budget is massive when compared to with every other budgeted expenditure. If you were to reallocate funds from the police to another department, which would you choose and why?
Mr. Harrison couldn't hear you.
I'm not hearing you. I apologize.
Sorry about that, Mr. Harrison. The police budget is massive when compared with every other budgeted expenditure. If you were to reallocate funds from the police to another department, which would you choose and why?
There are so many good departments in Bethel Park. I wouldn't want to reduce the police budget. I'm with both John and Joe in that just efficiency would be the key if we had to reduce the police budget, giving them better gear. But always improving our parks, which is something that the borough is doing, would be a good spend of money to try to bring in younger families and help out the family life around here.
Well, thank you to the Chamber and to you as well for hosting this event. I agree with John and Justin and Joe. Reducing the police budget I don't think is the way to go. It's more of make sure proper training, proper equipment is given. Fourth largest population in Allegheny County, Bethel Park, the number of citizens that we have. Reducing policing is not the answer. I think finding ways to better train to assess the different situations that may present themselves to the police department is the way to go. In addition to the better gear, the better training, the cars, what have you. We have a lot of people coming in to shop our businesses. Many businesses in Bethel Park. We have a lot of people coming in and out of this community to spend their money and help our community out and our local business owners. So I definitely would not reduce policing, but there are some things to look at as far as helping out Public Works. They've done a great job historically, and just give more attention to them for parks and road work.
All right, the next question is the community oversight currently being done on police adequate? And do you think it is leading to fair and equal outcomes?
I think that I had a little trouble understanding the first question, but there was some question about reducing the funding and where would I put the money. My answer to that question is that I would not favor reducing the funding. I think with our chief and our police department, they're doing an excellent job for Bethel Park. So I wouldn't even want to address what to do with the money because I don't want to see the money come out of the policing department. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Is the community oversight currently being done on police adequate? And do you think it is leading to fair and equal outcomes?
First and foremost, I believe that police presence belongs in all communities. But we can do additional things to help both our police and our community. Efforts such as body cams helps both the police and our citizens, as well as having robust trainings for our police department, and also mental health training and observation for all police departments.
This message is for Lindsay. What is your opinion on whether we should limit expansion of commercial property in Bethel Park?
I think it's a priority for Bethel Park citizens for sure to support local family businesses. I know a lot of folks, we love our family deli, we love our Bethel bakery. So when it comes to commercial properties, encouraging growth for new small businesses to come in, and then supporting the ones that we have here, I think that's most important. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dave, can you please answer that question?
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for the Chamber of Commerce hosting this wonderful opportunity to have a chance to meet and hear all the candidates. My opinion on commercial zoning is important that we utilize the infrastructure that we have here in Bethel Park. The zoning committee would be an important component of helping assist in making a decision on commercial property, of the building of the commercial property. So, thank you.
Thank you. So someone asked if we can ask each of the candidates, I'm going to ask you the question, but introduce yourself, just so that they know who's speaking. And so what is your opinion of, oh wait, I'm sorry, I just read that part, right? What are your plans for making Bethel Park a marketable community to attract new businesses and residents?
Sure. So my name's Joe Janisic. I'm a lifelong resident of Bethel Park, and I'm running for the Ward 5 council seat. And, my plan for the community of Bethel Park is basically following the blueprint that was put together so nicely by the current municipal people. Bethel Park will provide a inclusive, safe, and well-connected community. So that's some of the things that I want to do. Connecting the T-line is one of the things that I want to have as a priority. I'm sure everyone here knows the story around the Port Authority putting a study up for the library T-line and maybe eliminating it over time. I want to do everything I can to preserve that amenity here. I think it's a huge attraction for Bethel Park, and a lot of people want to be able to use it. I think we should add bike racks, sidewalks like we've been talking about. We need to maintain the sidewalks that we have. We need to add sidewalks where we can so that people aren't walking on the street from the Lytle line down to South Park Shops, down Brightwood, over to Walmart, and some of the other places. So I think that that's something I want to focus on.
Thank you for the question. Again, my name is John Oakes. I'm running for Bethel Park Councilman, Ward 3. And to answer the question, to bring it more marketable for other businesses and even for residents, first we want to work on the infrastructure. We want to make sure infrastructure can keep up with everything in Bethel Park, keep up with the businesses, keep up with the building, etc. We also, to Joe's point, we do have to add more trails. That helps the recreation businesses, everything down the road, sidewalks, enlarging berms on the side of the roads. My research shows a study has 3D crosswalks. Certain painted crosswalks are better for people, for pedestrians in regards to speeding and bringing more marketable businesses in. Thank you.
Next question is, how do you feel about the transportation options currently available in Bethel Park?
Hello, I'm Justin Tiano, and I'm running for council in Ward 9. And how do I feel about the transportation options in Bethel Park? Is great, because we have public transportation. The whole South Hills has that trolley line. We have the trolley line that goes through from the mall down to Washington Junction, from the library up to Washington Junction as well. The Mon Valley Expressway. We do have very good public transportation. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jonathan Winfield, also running for Ward 9. Can't really deny anything Justin just said. It's all true. With the the bus service that we have around Bethel Park, I think it's easy to get around Bethel Park. Besides transportation, I think sidewalks are huge. In my neighborhood, we're fortunate enough to have sidewalks, but there's a lot that do not. A lot of people are walking all over the place nowadays for health reasons, what have you. I think that is something that we should look into, or council should look into as a priority going forward for the safety of the residents of Bethel Park. Mass transportation, eliminating the T, I think, is a big mistake. Working with the Port Authority to make sure we keep that library line, I think is essential to the success of the businesses in Bethel Park.
Next question, sir, is if you could change one thing in our zoning code, what would it be and why?
I'll have to think about that a bit. I think that we have a legislation building codes that are serving us very well. We have everything from single family to multi-family to industrial. And I think, and having the industrial park, so that puts a lot of that business in there. I think we have an adequate system of legislation to control the development. And there's not much more development to be done in Bethel Park because most of the property has already been developed. Thank you very much.
Same question?
Same question, yes.
So I don't know that I would change anything, particularly with our zoning code. Right now, our code enforcement does a phenomenal job. They are incredibly open and transparent with the citizens. But I would have to do more research and reach out to the constituents of Bethel Park to find out if they indeed have any additional problems with zoning.
Thank you. Next question. How do you plan to involve Bethel Park residents in the decision-making process? This is for Lindsay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again?
How do you plan to involve Bethel Park residents in the decision-making process?
This is so important. Back when the blueprint was being put together, there were so many community forums, so much community input. Our citizens want to be involved. And I know we're limited physically right now, so when it comes to the municipal website or social media platforms, streamlining them so we can communicate more effectively on social media and online. And then for the folks, that aren't, that don't have an online presence, maybe physical surveys to get input, to every house in the community to really get the breadth of everybody involved, not just certain people that speak out all the time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dave, same question. I'll repeat it for you since you're online. How do you plan to involve Bethel Park residents in the decision-making process?
I think it's important that we uphold a type of culture that the decisions that are made are based on the residents of Bethel Park. The decisions should be well-informed decisions. They should be done after we have an opportunity to educate ourselves as well as the public before making a decision. As an educator myself, I've had a wonderful opportunity of working through the Shade Tree Commission, volunteering numerous hours, and getting the youth involved in our community and seeing how that has provided the children and the students such a wonderful opportunity to have that sense of community. As a graduate of Bethel Park and coming back after serving in the military on active duty in the Marine Corps, I'm so thankful to be able to come back and run for council based on everything that Bethel Park has provided me and my family. Thank you.
Next question back to you, Joe. If you were given a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure, road, bridge, sidewalks, etc., how would you evaluate whether or not the project is worth implementing?
I think we have studies that we can do to determine that financial impact, social impact, impacts on the neighborhoods, and I would rely on the experts for that sort of thing, and then base my decision on that. I think there's a few projects going on now that are good. There's some intersections that are being worked on. And that's about it. I would listen to the experts and base my decisions on that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, JP. So there's a number of things. Number one, we have professional engineers here in the municipality and that work for the municipal building. And I would tend to go with their decisions first. We want to make sure these are the professionals. They lead us down the right roads time and time again. And I work with them on a daily basis, and they're just great. But we also have to have community involvement. We have to make sure, with roads, with water lines, with sewage lines, that it takes everyone. It has to have input from everyone and a lot of studies, a lot of science behind it. But I would always refer back to the engineers. We should have community input, then bring that to the engineers, have the engineers study it, and then come up with a tried, true plan. Thank you.
May I address that?
No, sir. We have specific questions. We'll get you a different question. Next question for you, Justin, is if elected, what three steps would you put in place to get Bethel Park on a firmer financial footing?
3 steps. Well, continue the trend that our current council is doing. They saved a lot of money. There's a gentleman that is sitting right to my right that refinanced the bonds in the sewer authority and saved the borough $750,000. So looking to trim the fat is one way to do it. Seeing how we can increase revenue, getting jobs, getting businesses into the borough is another way that we'd be able to get more money into the borough. And then a third one, outside of bringing in revenue and cutting expenses, Not quite sure how else you could bring money in, so try to bring in more revenue and cut expenses. Thank you.
Thank you. 3 steps. First, I'd have to review the budget, exactly what's in the budget before you even talk about making any kind of cuts or adjustments. See where those dollars are going, make sure they're being used to their full potential. God bless you. Sorry. Lost train of thought there for a second with that. I apologize. But going through the budget, relying on not just myself, but the other members of council. I mean, we are all members, or would be all members of Bethel Park Council. We speak for each of our wards, but come together as a whole, deciding what is best after listening to our constituents. So first, I'd have to do more due diligence, more research to see what is the opportunities that lie within the budget before any decisions would be made.
Next question for you, sir. Mr. Harrison. What is your plan to ensure that Bethel Park a welcoming and safe community for everyone, regardless of their gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or gender designation?
I personally think that we're very fortunate in having a distribution of people in Bethel Park that are of various religions, various backgrounds, and I think it's just a matter of making sure that we don't allow any demonstration to develop, and I don't think that's a problem in Bethel Park. Thank you.
Same question.
Thank you. I'm so proud of our school district for implementing the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. I also believe that something should be implemented at a municipal level. I believe that all elected officials, as well as senior level employees, should take this diversity training. And per my studies, right now, currently only 97% of all Bethel Park are all Caucasian. We need to figure out why only 97% of our community is only Caucasian, and we need to, attract and make other people feel welcome within our community.
Next question is for Lindsay. Can you hear me, Lindsay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Bethel Park has a lot of older residents. What is your plan to attract younger people and families to our municipality?
Thank you. I didn't introduce myself before. My name is Lindsay Flynn, and I'm running for council in Ward 9. I know this is a huge priority for our residents here. They've definitely expressed this concern. So looking at how we can better utilize our community center and the programming and education and activities that we have going on there. I'm so proud of the current trajectory that we're giving all of our parks a facelift and redoing them all. I know our community is so excited about the splash pad. And then just really focusing on hearing what young families need. I mean, I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and it's important from all age groups to feel like they have belonging here in our community. Thank you.
Same question for you, Dave, and if you want to introduce yourself, please.
And my name is David Espinor, and I'm running for Bethel Park Council, representing Ward 7. I think it's important to go back to the basics and understand that what makes a community thrive, or to make sure that we have those basic necessities in place, to include a safety would be a very important. Make sure we have a good police force, well-funded police force, as well as a fire department and EMS. Ensuring that our infrastructure, that our roads are up to par, that our parks are well maintained, that we offer a lot of programs through our recreation department, and listen to what is needed by Bethel Park residents, and make those adaptations and changes as they are needed. Thank you.
Next question, Joe. What is more important to our community right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?
Well, as Mr. Harrison noted, there's not much more of Bethel Park to develop. So my understanding is that there are some blighted properties and that is an issue. So I would want to go that direction. I would want to fix up some of what we have already and maybe not push the envelope so far on commercializing and developing. I think we need that. The Bethel Pines community is getting built right near my neighborhood in Ward 5, and I think that's great. I saw 18 out of 19 homes are now sold. And I think that's all good. But I also see many properties in Ward 5 and in other places in Bethel Park that need to be cleaned up and fixed up. And I think Municipal Council is working towards that with some of the new ordinances that they're putting in place. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. And I also agree, as well as Mr. Harrison said, there is not much room for development. There still is some development. And if there is new development, it has to take into caution concern to make sure that you know how it's structured to leave room for other properties, still leave room for everything that the community has to do, walking, recreation, etc. But we do have a small problem with some blighted communities and some older houses that would need to be revitalized, and there should be programs out there that do that. And we should also strive to do that, as well as connect walking trails and sidewalks to these older properties so they could be easily accessible and enjoyed by all the residents.
Next question for Justin. Do you believe it is important to work in collaboration with the school board and business community? If so, why?
Definitely the business community, because they are residents and partners in generating revenue for the borough and a good source of revenue. Working with the school board, I will support the school board in anything that they would need, but they are their own entity and have their own set of rules and stuff. And I'd be more than happy to help them with anything that they would need, but I do believe they're separate from us.
Thank you. Yeah, I would agree. Working with both the school board and the business community is very important for the success of Bethel Park, the residents. Bringing in new businesses, bringing in people from outside, again, to spend their money here within our borders, very important. Building a solid, safe school environment, which we have, also draws in families, which would, again, in turn expand the Bethel Park population, which is what we want, a safe, secure community for all, correct? So working with the school board, if I can touch what Justin just said, they have their own set of rules. There's also things that we can do together to better improve life for all resident students combined. Thank you.
And Dawn, if you want to introduce yourself before this next question, your question is going to be, what beautification projects would you like to see implemented throughout Bethel Park?
My name's Don Harrison. I'm in my 48th year as a councilman in Bethel Park. I not only service the people in the 5th Ward, which I represent, but I service people all over the communities. I've built a reputation for addressing any problem that people bring to me, and the first thing I do is discuss with them, is it a municipal problem? And if it is, I direct them to the person that can help them. If it's not a municipal problem, I suggest quite often maybe I can be helpful. And I, in fact, do go out in neighborhoods and help neighbors to resolve problems that is not part of my council job, but it's just part of my relationship with the constituents. Thank you very much.
Same question, Danielle.
Great question. I absolutely love some of our already implemented beautification programs that we have in Bethel Park. That includes the trolley beautification program and our annual trash pickup. I have been involved with both of those programs for the past 7 years. Both my Rotary and Lions Club have sponsored flower beds, and they all participate in trash cleanup. That's something very near and dear to my heart. However, our Bethel Park does need a downtown retrofit, And some of that includes just some beautification areas, kind of like what downtown Dormont has been doing with flower boxes and various lighting and other businesses to attract outsiders from our community.
Thank you. Next question is for Lindsay. What are your views on diversity, equality, inclusion, and anti-racism in Bethel Park?
I am, as I think Danielle said, I'm so proud of our school district for implementing the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee on the district level. I think that's incredibly important to do on a municipal level as well. Other communities have been doing this, and it's important that we hear from experiences from folks that are different than us. I mean, I live in this body and I don't experience things that other folks experience. So being able to hear and to educate ourselves and to look not just interpersonally, but on a municipal level, like is there anything that we are currently doing that's maybe not best practice? So really being able to look at those kinds of things at a municipal level and at a personal level. Thank you.
Same question for you, Dave.
One thing that maybe some residents may not know about me is I was actually not born in the United States. I was born in Madrid, Spain. English is my second language. I moved to the United States when I was 11 years old. My mother is American and my father is Spanish. So for me, it's something that I've always embraced, and it's something that's always been, in my opinion, not something that I hide or that I think is a negative attribute. So I think it's always nice to have diversity. It brings a lot of different thoughts and processes into it. But at the end of the day, I'm very fortunate to have that experience of living in another country, as well as in the Marine Corps, having a chance to visit other countries as well, and seeing different types of quality of life, and bringing that here to Bethel Park as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. This is the last question. Everyone's going to receive this question, so we'll start with Joe and go around the table. What 5 things would you like to see happen in Bethel Park over the next 5 years?
5 things in 5 years, huh? As I stated before, the trolley, saving the library trolley line would be important to me. Going along the well-connected community lines, I'd like to help complete the Central Bethel Park Trail, which connects us from here at the administration building across the Public Works, over Brightwood Road, over 88, up to Broughton. It also goes this direction all the way to South Park Road, with the hopes that someday we can connect up with the current trail at Logan. And so those are 2 things. 3 is provide an inclusive community. I'd like to go back to the inclusion and diversity question that you just talked about. We limit ourselves when we limit who we include. And so a bigger tent, more people involved, more opinions, I think that's all good. I only got to 3. But the 4th thing, real quick, would be, I think that something that's been lost through the pandemic is the opioid epidemic, and I think many families are still suffering, and we need to do more to support them.
Okay, thanks, JP. So I'll start going through my bullet points here of the number of things that I find that are important, and even from canvassing people's houses and what I've been told that their biggest concerns were. First, I want to make sure we're fiscally responsible. I want to make sure we keep a tight, very efficient budget while still keeping all the programs that we have in Bethel Park today. And I want to keep that going. It's not necessarily a 5-year thing, but I want to make sure we keep that, especially over the 5 years. 2, safety of residents. I want to make sure that the police, the EMS, the fire department, the public works has all the newer gear, tools, safety equipment, and training that they need to complete their job and to keep Bethel Park safe. I want to make sure that 3, the quality of life. I want to make sure that Bethel Park residents have the best quality of life, whether that be with trails, whether that be sidewalks, whether that be different additions to parks or updates to parks. Sorry, I only got to 3. That's the end of my time, but thank you.
So there has been some great points brought up, and I can just continue with those. Of course, I support the police department and want to keep their training and their gear going so that they can keep all the residents safe. Continued development of the park system. We're doing Millennium Park right now. There's still so many other parks that we can continue to make better, to get families, younger families involved in our community. And I know we're getting some pickleball courts coming into play, and I know that's a big issue to a bunch of young ladies. Work with the newly developed Chamber of Commerce to bring in businesses into Bethel Park, to bring in more revenue to Bethel Park. And then again, what John had just touched on, a good quality of life for all residents. And that's what we need, just making everybody happier and a better place to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we're all in agreement, police funding, right? Make sure we have a safe, secure community to all live in and enjoy. As a father of 5, the park system is huge for us. Increased park and recreation activities beyond what we have now. We have a few ideas like to share with the community as far as family get-togethers, things that you can do outside of your normal schedule. I know we're very busy with what we do running around with my family. Having time to spend together is huge. Working with the chamber to bring in new business is vital. I know right now businesses are suffering, so we're kind of recovering from COVID. Employment it's out there. Right? Everybody's looking for a job. I speak to small business owners every day. The signs are up. So working with them to attract employees to their businesses, promote their businesses. Right now the mayor is doing a great job with the Bethel Park beautification project that he has going on, supporting local businesses, fix up your house. We need to do more things like that to promote those local businesses to help Bethel Park. Sorry, I only got to 3.
I think Bethel Park is, as mentioned already, the average age of the resident in Bethel Park is increasing, like is characteristic of most of the surrounding communities. So I think the thing that will make Bethel Park be more attractive is to attract the younger people with children. And we have a tremendous number of parks and parklets with activities, and we have the Bethel Green that is being developed at this time. And the older people, the more mature people want pickleball. So we have a lot of things like that that we can address to make it more attractive to the new people coming in.
Sure. So building a safer and more desirable community for everyone to grow and to promote new businesses. This includes sidewalks, promoting a more robust recreation program for people of all ages, and again, promoting the downtown business retrofit. And this also includes, I would like to give the industrial park a facelift. Some transparency and accountability. This would include an anti-nepotism policy with our hiring process as well as our bidding process within the municipality. Finally, I have already said this, but we need to implement a diversity, equity, inclusion to make Bethel Park welcoming to all citizens.
Okay, Lindsay, you're up next.
All right, let's see if I can fit all 5 in. Number 1, sidewalks. We need a well-connected community, and folks really, really want that. Number 2, I'm going to say it again, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee on a municipal level. We really need to hear our residents and dig in and have some real conversations about things. Number 3, what Joe said, let's get that trail extended, that we have such a great amenity right here in Bethel Park. Let's work on that. Number 4, downtown retrofit. I know this is a big project, but folks want this, so let's start making baby steps towards that. And number 5, transparency and accessibility. We need our citizens to be well informed. That's better for the health of our community. So our website, our social media platforms, like folks need to be able to find information. And I think that would be great. That's it. That's all 5. Thank you.
right, Dave, you're up next.
As a father of 3 young children, it is very important that we have a strategic plan in place. I believe that a strategic plan is created by allowing all citizens of Bethel Park to be active stakeholders in designing that vision of what we want Bethel Park to be. As a 3rd-generation Bethel Park resident, I have seen Bethel Park transform, and it continues to improve. With 3 young children, I want to make sure that we continue to go that route. As a role of a council member, this can be done by making sure that we address citizen concerns. I also want to ensure fiscal responsibility, making sure that we maximize our budget, that we maximize our spending and get the most bang for our buck. And always look at opportunities to raise the quality of life. That's going to be very important. And that could be done through a variety of ways. But it's important to be able to work with other council members as well as with the municipal planner and all the directors in different parts in order to continue to make Bethel Park a place where people want to love to come and live and raise a family. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, so that's the end of our questions. Does anyone in the audience have any questions? Anyone watching have any questions? Does anyone on council have any questions that you want to ask each other? Okay. All right, well, we want to thank you all.
I'd like to thank everyone too. I had not a question, but a statement.
Statement?
Every single person in this room volunteers their time for their community. And one of the great things one of the best decisions I made in my life was bringing my family to Bethel Park. The community, the volunteer, the neighbor-to-neighbor interactions, and I know most of the people in this room, and I volunteer with most of the people in this room. Everyone here does a good job, and that's why I'm proud to call Bethel Park my home. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and that's my statement. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to make any final or closing statements?
I would like to say something. Although I'm not sitting in the room with you all, isn't this exciting? We all want to get involved in our local community on a public service level. I think this is so exciting. So I'm happy to be here with you all, even if I'm just virtually. This is great. Thank you.
I would like to add and thank everyone in this room, especially all of the first-time people running for council here. It takes a lot to do something like this, and I think it shows how great our community truly is with this many people stepping up and wanting to serve our community at this level. And I think it goes to show that we all want to see a lot of change within Bethel Park, and we're all ready to do that for our citizens.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
I want to thank the chamber for trying to stir up interest in the elected positions, and I just wish there was some magic wand that we could wave that get the public involved in more in the school district and the council. I can tell you that I try to stir up interest in different things. For instance, I read something in the record about Khrushchev, the premier of Russia, several decades ago, saying that we don't have to push the United States towards socialism. They'll do it for us. And I sit at this dais and commented that I thought on January the 20th of this year that the U.S. of A. became a socialist nation, and I think I don't think that's what the public wants, and I think the problem is they just don't act on their thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to what John was saying, yes, it is great, and Daniel was saying that so many people are coming out to support our community, and it's really nice to be here. It is exciting to be here, and I will work hard for all of the people in Ward 9 and all of the residents in all of Bethel Park because I do love this borough and love this community. Thank you.
So that fell right where I wanted to. So having the last name Winfield for the past 40 years, I'm used to going last. So thank you all.
Just right in front of you, yes.
Thank you all for the opportunity. Thanks to the Chamber coming out for all of us to express our vision for Bethel Park, what we want to see for growth for the future, for our families, for your families, for those of you who are watching. I think we all have great ideas to share with you, working together, collaborating with current members as well as new members who might be elected this fall. I think we have a great plan for Bethel Park, and I look forward to, hopefully, with your vote being part of that success. If not, I'm still there as a volunteer. I do a lot within the community and within the schools, so just appreciate the opportunity to be here and hopefully represent Ward 9. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh, I'm not last. No.
Oh, okay, Dave?
Wanted to thank the moderators. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, JP. Thank you, Mayor Jack Allen. Thank you, Dave Cable. And thank you, Connie, for putting wonderful opportunity for everyone here this evening. It really is encouraging to hear everyone's vision of Bethel Park and hearing how we can continue to make Bethel Park a wonderful place to live. Thank you.
Ms. Ford, I'd like to say something as well. I just wanted to thank the Chamber, and yeah, that's okay. I was just sitting here quiet. I just wanted to thank the Chamber and Consuela for letting us be here today and do this for us. I would just say briefly, you know, since Sharon and I became involved locally about 5 or 6 years ago, this has really become a calling for myself and for her, and it's something that we really want to do, and we're ready to serve. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, the Chamber and the community thank you all for coming out tonight and helping them be a little more informed. I want to remind everybody to come out and vote on May 18th and to support our local businesses.